Think about the farthest place you have ever been, not the name of it, not the memory, the distance itself. You know how long it took. You remember the waiting, the movement, the sense of getting closer. Your brain is excellent at this. It understands footsteps. It understands roads. It understands hours, days, and maybe weeks. But there is a point where distance stops being something you feel and becomes something your brain simply gives up on. That point is not at the edge of the Earth. It is not even at the moon. It begins the moment distance becomes so large that time itself is the only way to describe it. This is where the light year enters. A light year is not just a big number. It is a signal that you have crossed out of human intuition and into cosmic reality. From this point on, nothing behaves the way your instincts expect. Distance becomes history. Seeing becomes remembering. And the sky stops being a view and starts being an archive. This is the story of a measurement your brain was never meant to understand and why the universe uses it anyway. Why human distance has a ceiling. Your brain evolved to solve practical problems. How far is food? How long until night? Can I reach shelter before danger arrives? For tens of thousands of years, anything farther than a few days' walk simply did not matter, so your brain developed shortcuts. It groups distance into feelings: near, far, very far. Once something passes a certain scale, the details vanish. This is why saying 1,000 kilometers and 10,000 kilometers feels almost the same emotionally. They both just mean too far to walk. The universe, however, does not care about your shortcuts. The moon already passed the comfort zone. Let's push your intuition gently. The moon is about 384,000 kilometers away. That sounds precise, but it does not feel real. So translate it. If you drove non-stop at highway speed, it would take months. If you flew in a commercial airplane, it would take weeks. The Apollo astronauts took about 3 days, moving faster than any humans before them. Already, something feels wrong. The moon looks close. You can cover it with a fingertip. It rises and sets like a neighbor. Yet even this distance stretches your brain thin. And the moon is not far at all. The sun, where intuition collapses. Now look at the sun. The sun feels immediate, warm, constant, but the sun is about 150 million kilometers away. Your brain cannot picture that, so again, convert distance into time. Light takes about 8 minutes to travel from the sun to Earth. That means when sunlight touches your skin, it began its journey 8 minutes ago. If the sun vanished this instant, Earth would not notice right away. For 8 full minutes, the sky would look normal. Birds would sing, people would walk to work. Reality would already be wrong, and no one would know. This is the first crack in how you understand the universe. Because now, distance is no longer space. It is delay. Why light becomes the universe's ruler. On Earth, we measure distance with objects, rulers, roads, maps. But in space, nothing stays still. Stars move. Galaxies drift. Space itself expands. There is no fixed measuring stick, except light. Light moves at a constant speed about 300,000 kilometers every second, no matter where you are or how fast you are moving. Because of this, light becomes the only trustworthy ruler the universe has. Instead of asking, how far away is that star? Astronomers ask, How long did its light take to reach us? 1 second of light travel, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 year. This is not poetic language. This is necessity. What a light year really means. A light year is the distance light travels in 1 year. That distance is about 9.46 trillion kilometers. That number is accurate and completely useless to your intuition, so forget the kilometers. A light year is not something you imagine crossing. It is something you imagine looking through. If a star is 1 light year away, you are seeing it as it was 1 year ago. 2 light years means 2 years ago. 1,000 light years means 1,000 years ago. Distance becomes time. The sky becomes layered history. The night sky is not the present. This is the most important shift. When you look up, you are not seeing the universe as it is now. You are seeing a collage of different moments. Moonlight is seconds old. Sunlight is minutes old. Nearby stars are years old. Distant stars are centuries old. Some stars you see may already be gone. Their light is still traveling. The night sky is not a window. It is a museum. Why this feels uncomfortable? Your brain expects cause and effect to be close together. You act. Something happens. In the universe, cause and effect are separated by enormous delays. By the time you observe an event, it is already history. This makes certainty impossible. You never see things as they are, only as they were. Your instincts resist this idea. That resistance is not ignorance, it is biology. The true meaning of the light year. The light year is not impressive because it is large. It is unsettling because it rewrites how reality works. It tells you that information is slow, that observation is delayed, that the universe never updates instantly. It places a permanent gap between what happens and what you can know. And once you understand this, the universe stops feeling like a place you live in and starts feeling like a story that is still arriving. What comes next? In the next part, we will leave the sun behind and face the nearest stars. You will see why even our fastest spacecraft barely crawl on a light-year scale. You will understand why interstellar travel is not just hard, but fundamentally alien to human timescales. And you will begin to feel just how patient the universe truly is. Once you understand that even sunlight is already minutes old when it reaches your skin, the next question feels natural and terrifying at the same time. How far away are the stars? Not the stars as dots, not constellations. The actual suns burning out there in space. The nearest star system to Earth, beyond our own sun, is Alpha Centauri. It sounds close. The name feels familiar, almost friendly, but its light takes more than 4 years to reach us. That means when you look toward it, you are seeing light that began its journey years ago, before countless ordinary moments of your life had even happened. 4 years does not sound cosmic. 4 years feels manageable. You can remember where you were 4 years ago. Your brain tries to shrink the distance to match the time. That is a mistake. 4 light years is not 4 long road trips. It is not 4 difficult journeys. It is a distance so large that even our most extreme machines barely register movement across it. To understand this, we need to talk about speed. Human beings are proud of speed. We measure progress by how fast we move. From walking to horses, to engines, to rockets, each leap feels revolutionary. But space is unimpressed. The fastest humans have ever traveled was during the Apollo missions, when astronauts accelerated to tens of kilometers every second. That speed shattered records. It was enough to escape Earth, reach the Moon, and return safely. Yet even at that speed, reaching the nearest star would take tens of thousands of years. Not generations, not civilizations. Entire slices of human prehistory, and that assumes nothing goes wrong. Now consider our fastest machines. Voyager 1, launched decades ago, is one of the most distant human-made objects in existence. It is traveling faster than any spacecraft designed to last, and after all this time, it has not even traveled a single light day. Not a light year, a light day. On a map scaled to the galaxy, Voyager has barely left the driveway. This is the moment the light year stops being impressive and starts being humiliating. Because it exposes a truth we do not like to face. The universe is not just bigger than us. It operates on timescales that ignore us completely. Your entire life, from birth to death, is less than a blink when measured in light years. That realization changes how exploration feels. When people imagine traveling to other stars, they imagine motion. Engines firing, distances shrinking, progress. But in reality, interstellar travel would feel like waiting. Endless waiting. If a spacecraft traveled at 1/10 the speed of light, a speed far beyond anything we can currently achieve, reaching a star 4 light-years away would still take decades for outside observers. And inside the ship, strange things would begin to happen. Time would slow. Distance would contract. Reality itself would warp. Not because of science fiction, but because of physics. As objects approach the speed of light, time behaves differently for them. This is not theory, it is measured. It is tested. It is used every day in satellite systems that must correct for these effects to function properly. At extreme speeds, travelers would age more slowly than the people they left behind. They might return to find centuries have passed, or never return at all. Suddenly, the idea of visiting another star stops being adventurous and starts being existential. Who would go? Who would stay? What would home even mean? Light years do not just limit travel, they fracture societies. Communication suffers the same fate. Imagine sending a message to a civilization 4 light years away. Your message arrives 4 years after you send it. Their reply takes another 4 years to return. A single exchange takes almost a decade. Conversation becomes impossible. What you have instead is archaeology. Messages sent to ghosts of the past, answered by civilizations that may already be gone by the time you hear back. This reframes one of the deepest questions humans ask. Where is everybody? The universe may not be silent. It may simply be slow. Earth has been broadcasting radio signals for a little more than a century. That means there is a bubble around our planet, expanding outward at the speed of light, carrying our earliest transmissions into space. That bubble is tiny. On a galactic scale, it is barely visible. Any civilization outside that bubble has no idea we exist. And any civilization inside it would be hearing us as we were generations ago. They would not know who we are now. They would not know if we survived. They would not know if we are still listening. The light year turns the search for life into a search through time. And this brings us to the most unsettling idea of all. The universe has a speed limit. Light is not just fast. It is the fastest possible way information can move. Nothing outruns it. Nothing cheats it. This means there are parts of the universe that are already unreachable, not because they are too far, but because space itself is expanding faster than their light can ever reach us. They are beyond our cosmic horizon. They exist, but they are permanently disconnected from us. No signal, no travel, no knowledge. They might as well be in another universe entirely. And this horizon is growing. Every second, more galaxies slip beyond it, their final light stretching thinner and redder as the universe expands. One day, far in the future, distant galaxies will fade completely from view. Observers then will see a quieter, emptier universe than we do now. Which means this moment right now is unusually rich. We live at a time when the universe is still visible, when ancient light still reaches Earth, when the sky is full of stories arriving late, but still arriving. This is the quiet gift hidden inside the light year. Yes, it is a limit. Yes, it is a barrier. Yes, it humbles us. But it also preserves history. Without light years, the universe would be instantaneous and unknowable. Everything would happen everywhere at once. Cause and effect would collapse. The delay imposed by light gives the universe structure. It allows events to unfold, be recorded, and be seen. It makes astronomy possible. When you look at the stars, you are not just seeing distant objects. You are intercepting ancient journeys. Photons that have crossed emptiness for years, centuries, or longer, only to end their existence inside your eyes. That is not small, that is intimate. And once you understand this, the stars stop feeling distant, they feel patient. They have been waiting a very long time for you to look up. In the next part, we will move beyond stars and into galaxies where light years stop being counted one at a time and start being counted by the millions and billions, and where the universe reveals just how deep its memory truly is. When you move beyond individual stars, something subtle but profound happens to your sense of scale. Stars are still objects. They have names. They feel countable, but galaxies do not behave that way in the human mind. A galaxy is not just many stars grouped together. It is a different category of thing entirely, like the difference between a drop of water and an ocean. Our home, the Milky Way, contains hundreds of billions of stars. Even writing that in words does not help much. Your brain cannot hold that quantity. It collapses into abstraction. And yet, every one of those stars is a sun, many with planets, many with histories as long and complex as our own solar system. When astronomers say the Milky Way is about 100,000 light-years across, they are not describing a route. They are describing a span of time so long that light itself takes longer than all of recorded human history to cross it. If a beam of light were released from one edge of our galaxy when early humans were just beginning to use stone tools, that light would still be traveling today, not yet having reached the other side. Entire civilizations would rise and fall beneath that single journey. Languages would be born and die. Species would appear and vanish, and the light would continue, indifferent, unhurried. This is the scale at which galaxies operate. When you look up at the faint cloudy band of the Milky Way stretching across the night sky, you are not seeing a structure in space so much as you are seeing a cross-section through time. Some of that light left its stars thousands of years ago. Some of it began its journey long before writing existed. Some of it started before humans had even learned to farm. All of it arrives together, layered into a single image, compressed into a moment your eyes interpret as now. But there is no now in the sky. As telescopes grew more powerful, astronomers realized something unsettling. Those faint smudges once thought to be clouds within our galaxy were not clouds at all. They were other galaxies. Entire Milky Ways of their own, scattered across the universe. And the distances involved were no longer measured in single light years or even thousands. They were measured in millions. A galaxy 1,000,000 light years away is not just far. It is so distant that the light reaching us today left when early humans were still sharing the planet with creatures that no longer exist. A galaxy 10 million light years away is sending us light that began traveling before humans had language. At hundreds of millions of light years, the light started its journey before humans had even appeared. This is where the light year becomes something more than a unit of measurement. It becomes a record. Telescopes do not look outward. They look backward. When astronomers observe distant galaxies, they are not studying what those galaxies are like today. They are studying what they were like when the universe was young, when galaxies were smaller, messier, more violent, when stars were forming at furious rates, when collisions between galaxies were common, shaping them through chaos rather than calm rotation. The universe we see is not frozen, it is evolving. And the only reason we know that is because light years force us to observe change across time. Every increase in distance is a step deeper into the past. At billions of light years, something extraordinary happens. Galaxies begin to look unfamiliar. Their shapes change. The orderly spirals and smooth ellipses give way to clumps and fragments. This is not because galaxies used to be uglier. It is because they were younger. You are watching the universe learn how to organize itself. At these distances, light has been traveling since a time when the universe itself was very young. Matter had not yet settled. Gravity was still pulling chaos into structure. The rules were the same, but the outcomes were different. This is why astronomers say the universe has a memory. Not a conscious one, but a physical one. Light carries information. Every photon encodes the conditions of its origin, temperature, motion, composition. When that light reaches Earth billions of years later, it brings that information intact. The universe writes its history in light, and space preserves it by forcing that light to travel slowly. This also means that there are limits to what we can ever know. There is a distance so great that light from beyond it has not had enough time to reach us since the beginning of the universe. That boundary is not a wall. It is a horizon in time. Beyond it, the universe may be vast, complex, and full of structure, but it is forever hidden from us. Not because our technology is insufficient, but because reality itself has imposed a delay too long to overcome. This idea is deeply uncomfortable. Humans are explorers by instinct. We want to believe that with enough effort, enough intelligence, enough time, everything can be reached. Light years say otherwise. They tell us that some places are not just far away, they are causally disconnected. No signal from them can ever reach us. No observation can ever confirm their details. They exist, but not for us. And yet, within these limits, the universe has given us something remarkable. We live at a time when the cosmic horizon is wide, when ancient light is still arriving, when galaxies that will one day fade from view are still visible. We are witnesses at a privileged moment, standing in a narrow window where the universe is both old enough to be interesting and young enough to still be seen. Every time a telescope collects light from a distant galaxy, it is performing an act of preservation. It is capturing a moment that will never happen again. That galaxy has changed since the light left. It may have collided, merged, transformed. But that earlier version is now stored forever in the arriving photons. This gives astronomy a quiet urgency. We are not just observing the universe. We are rescuing its memories before they disappear beyond reach. And this leads to a humbling realization. The light year does not exist to confuse us. It exists because the universe is telling the truth about itself. It is big. It is old. It is slow to communicate. And it does not reshape itself to fit human comfort, but it does allow us to see. As long as light continues to arrive, the universe is still speaking. Slowly, patiently, across distances that flatten our intuition and stretch our imagination until it breaks and reforms into something larger. In the next part, we will turn inward and confront what this scale means for us personally, for our sense of importance, and for the strange fact that the atoms in your body were once part of stars whose light may still be traveling through space, long after their deaths. Once you accept that the universe is not arranged around human convenience, a different question begins to surface. It is quieter than curiosity about stars or galaxies, but far more personal. If everything we see is delayed, if every distant object exists for us only as a memory, then where do we fit into this enormous timeline? The first instinct is to feel small, insignificant. Like a brief accident in a universe that was already ancient long before we arrived and will continue long after we are gone. The light years seems to reinforce this feeling. It stretches distance into spans longer than civilizations, longer than species, longer than any story we tell about ourselves. But this reaction misses something important. Yes, the universe is vast. Yes, it operates on scales that ignore human lifetimes. But within those scales, something improbable happened. Matter organized itself. Stars formed. Elements heavier than hydrogen were forged in stellar cores and violent explosions. And eventually, those elements assembled into planets, chemistry, biology, and thought. Every atom in your body was processed through stars. This is not metaphor, it is literal history. The carbon in your cells, the oxygen you breathe, the iron in your blood were all created in stellar interiors or in the explosive deaths of stars. Before Earth existed, before the Sun ignited, before the Milky Way settled into its current form, those atoms were part of distant stellar systems. They traveled, not quickly, not directly. Over millions and billions of years, they drifted through space, mixed into clouds, collapsed into new stars, and finally found themselves here, arranged temporarily into you. This means you are not separate from the light year story. You are made of it. When astronomers look at distant stars and galaxies, they are not just studying foreign objects. They are studying earlier chapters of the same process that produced us. The delay imposed by light allows us to see stages of cosmic evolution that no longer exist nearby. It is like reading earlier drafts of reality. And this is where perspective shifts. The light year does not merely make us feel small. It gives us context. Your life is brief, but it is not disconnected. It sits at the intersection of countless long journeys. Photons traveling for years end their existence in your eyes. Atoms traveling for billions of years briefly assemble into your body. Information from distant corners of the universe converges here, now, in your awareness. That convergence is rare. The universe is mostly empty, dark, and silent. Vast regions contain nothing that can observe anything at all. Consciousness is not evenly distributed across space. It may be extraordinarily uncommon, which means that being able to look up and understand what you are seeing is not trivial. It is astonishing. Light years also change how we think about importance. Humans often equate importance with centrality. We imagine that to matter, something must be at the center, close to everything else, influencing outcomes directly and immediately. The universe disagrees. There is no center. There is no privileged position. Importance does not come from location. It comes from perspective. You matter not because the universe revolves around you, but because you are one of the few places where the universe becomes aware of itself. Light years make that awareness possible. They slow information down enough to be observed. They allow events to be separated, compared, understood. Without delay, there would be no narrative, only chaos. In a strange way, the universe needs slowness to make sense. This also reshapes how we think about legacy. Human lives are short. That is undeniable. But influence does not require longevity. A brief signal can travel far if it moves at the right speed. Earth has been emitting light and radio waves into space for a little more than a century. That means there is a growing shell of information expanding outward at the speed of light. Long after our buildings erode and our languages change, that shell will continue moving. Long after humanity itself changes or disappears, that record will still exist somewhere, carrying evidence that we were here. This does not guarantee meaning. The universe does not assign meaning, but it allows it. Light years also impose humility. They remind us that many of our worries, conflicts, and obsessions exist on scales so small they barely register cosmically. This is not an argument for indifference. It is an argument for proportion. When you realize how slowly the universe communicates, urgency takes on a different flavor. Some things truly matter now because now is rare. Every moment of awareness exists in a narrow window between past and future light. The photons hitting your eyes right now will never exist again. The configuration of atoms that makes up your body will never repeat. The specific perspective you occupy has never existed before and never will again. That uniqueness is sharpened by scale, not erased by it. The light year also reframes hope. It tells us that change takes time. That progress is not instant. That messages sent today may not be understood for years, decades, or longer. But it also tells us that nothing is truly lost immediately. Light carries traces forward. Actions echo. Information persists. Even stars that died long ago continue to shape the universe through their light and debris. Even civilizations that vanish leave ripples that travel outward. This is not comfort in the human sense, it is continuity. And perhaps the most profound consequence of understanding light years is how it changes the night sky. Once you truly grasp what you are seeing, the stars stop being decoration. They stop being background. They become participants in a shared history. Each point of light is a message that survived an enormous journey. It crossed emptiness, dodged absorption, and avoided scattering only to arrive at this moment. It did not know you existed. It was not sent for you. And yet, here it is. That coincidence is the quiet miracle at the heart of astronomy. You are not the center of the universe, but you are a point where the universe briefly comes into focus. Light years make that focus possible by stretching reality across time instead of collapsing it into immediacy. In the next part, we will confront the limits of this connection. We will explore what happens when expansion outruns light, when regions of the universe become permanently unreachable, and what it means to live in a cosmos where some stories will never be known, no matter how long we wait or how carefully we listen. There comes a point when thinking about light years where curiosity turns into confrontation, not with distance, but with limits. Up to now, the universe has felt vast but open, slow but readable, delayed but ultimately accessible. Light arrives late, yet it arrives. History is stretched, but it is still visible. Then expansion enters the picture. Space is not static. It is not an empty stage where galaxies simply sit and drift. Space itself is changing. It is growing. And that growth has consequences that are easy to misunderstand and impossible to ignore. When astronomers say the universe is expanding, they do not mean that galaxies are flying through space like debris from an explosion. They mean that the space between galaxies is increasing. Distances are being stretched, not traveled. This matters because light has a maximum speed, space does not. At great enough distances, the expansion of space can carry galaxies away from us faster than their light can ever reach us. Not because those galaxies are accelerating through space, but because the space between us and them is expanding too quickly. This creates a boundary, not a wall, not an edge, a horizon. Beyond this horizon, events still happen, stars still form, galaxies still collide, but none of that information can ever reach Earth. The light is stretched, slowed, and eventually overwhelmed by the expansion itself. These regions are not just far away. They are permanently unreachable. This is difficult to accept because it contradicts a deep human assumption that with enough time, anything can be seen. Light years already challenge patience. Cosmic expansion challenges possibility itself. There are stories in the universe that will never be told to us, not because they are hidden, not because they are secret, but because the rules of reality prevent the message from arriving. And this horizon is not fixed. As the universe continues to expand, more and more galaxies cross beyond it. Their light fades, stretches into wavelengths too long to detect, and disappears from view. Over cosmic time, the visible universe shrinks. Future observers, billions of years from now, will see a much emptier sky than we do today. Distant galaxies will have vanished from sight, leaving only the local group behind. This means that our era is unusual. We live at a time when the universe is still richly visible, when ancient light from across billions of light years still reaches us, when the sky is full of evidence that the universe had a beginning, that it evolved, that it changed. In the far future, that evidence will be gone. Observers then may look up and see only a quiet, static cosmos, unaware of the vast history that once unfolded beyond their reach. They may never know that the universe was once filled with galaxies stretching in all directions. This makes our position in time as significant as our position in space. Light years do not just measure distance, they measure opportunity. They tell us how much of the universe we are still allowed to know. This also reframes the idea of discovery. Many imagine that discovery is limited by technology, better telescopes, faster probes, more sensitive detectors. But some limits are not technical, they are fundamental. No machine, no matter how advanced, can observe what lies beyond the cosmic horizon. No signal can be received from regions that expansion has already carried out of contact. No clever workaround bypasses this boundary. The universe enforces its own privacy. This does not make exploration meaningless. It makes it urgent. Every observation we make is time-sensitive. Every galaxy we study is one that will one day disappear from view. Every measurement of cosmic structure is a record taken before the evidence fades. Astronomy becomes a race against expansion. Not a frantic one, but a quiet one. A slow effort to document what can be known before it slips away forever. This also reshapes how we think about permanence. Human cultures often seek immortality through monuments, stories, or influence. But on cosmic scales, even stars die, even galaxies merge and dissolve. Even light itself can be stretched into silence. Nothing physical is permanent. Except perhaps the fact that information, once lost beyond the horizon, is truly lost. This gives meaning to the present in an unexpected way. You are alive at a time when the universe is still revealing itself, when the sky still contains deep history, when the afterglow of the early cosmos still reaches Earth. Future beings may not have that gift. They may inherit a quieter universe with fewer clues about its origins. Which means that understanding light years is not just an intellectual exercise. It is an act of witnessing. When you look at distant galaxies, you are seeing something that future observers may never see again. You are holding a fragile connection across time that will eventually be severed. That does not make the universe tragic, it makes it precious. Light years also remind us that isolation is not always a failure. Sometimes it is a consequence of growth. As the universe expands, regions drift apart, losing contact not because they reject each other, but because there is simply too much space between them. This mirrors something deeply human. As lives expand, as time passes, connections change. Some relationships fade, not from conflict, but from distance. Cosmic scale reflects human scale in unexpected ways. And yet, within our shrinking window of visibility, there is still abundance. Hundreds of billions of galaxies remain observable today, each one a system of stars, planets, and history. Each one a message that has not yet been lost. The light year is the courier of those messages. It carries them patiently, without regard for whether anyone is listening. We are listening now. We may not always be able to. In the next part, we will turn toward the most intimate consequence of all this scale, how understanding light years reshapes our sense of time, mortality, and what it means to live a finite life inside an infinite, expanding universe. Once the idea of cosmic limits settles in, attention naturally turns inward. After galaxies, horizons, and unreachable regions of space, the question becomes unavoidable. What does all of this mean for a single human life? Not humanity as a concept, but you, breathing, aging, moving through a world that measures time in heartbeats rather than light years. At first, the contrast feels cruel. The universe unfolds across spans so long that entire species appear and vanish between the departure and arrival of light. Against that backdrop, a human lifespan seems vanishingly small. A few decades of awareness set against billions of years of cosmic history, but scale alone does not determine meaning. Light years help reveal something subtle. The universe experiences time very differently depending on where you stand. From a cosmic perspective, your life is brief. From your perspective, it is everything. Both views are correct. Neither cancels the other. The mistake is assuming that short duration implies insignificance. In physics, brief events can reshape entire systems. A supernova may last only moments in cosmic time, yet it can forge heavy elements, trigger new star formation, and alter the fate of surrounding space for millions of years. Duration and impact are not the same thing. The same is true for lives. Understanding light years forces you to confront the idea that permanence was never promised. Stars die. Galaxies merge. Even space itself evolves. Expecting individual lives to be exempt from impermanence is not optimism. It is misunderstanding. But impermanence does not erase value. It defines it. Because everything is delayed, nothing is repeated exactly. Each moment exists once, then becomes history. The photons leaving your face right now will never return. They will travel outward, carrying information about this precise configuration of matter, this exact instant of awareness. For a brief time, you are a source of light. That light will outlive you. This is not poetry. It is physics. Every object emits or reflects light. Those photons travel outward at the speed of light, forming an expanding shell of information. Long after the source changes or disappears, the shell continues. Somewhere far away, if anything is there to intercept it, evidence of your existence will still be arriving. This does not grant immortality in any comforting sense, but it does mean that existence leaves traces that persist far beyond the moment itself. Light years make those traces unavoidable. They also reshape how we think about waiting. In human life, waiting often feels like wasted time. Delays are frustrating. We want responses now. We want results now. We want clarity now. The universe does not operate that way. Signals take time. Change takes time. Understanding takes time. Even knowing what is happening right now across the cosmos is impossible. Everything arrives late. This forces a kind of cosmic patience. Astronomy is built on acceptance of delay. Astronomers know that what they observe has already changed. They work with incomplete information and learn to extract meaning anyway. They do not wait for perfection. They interpret patterns. That mindset has something to teach us. Life is also observed late. By the time you understand a moment, it has already passed. Meaning is always reconstructed in hindsight. Light years simply make this truth obvious on a grand scale. There is also comfort hidden here. Because nothing arrives instantly, nothing vanishes instantly either. Loss takes time to propagate. Change spreads gradually. The universe softens its transitions by stretching them across vast distances. Even endings echo gently rather than snapping into silence. Stars do not disappear without leaving a record. Their light continues to travel. Their remnants seed new systems. Their influence persists. Human lives, too, ripple outward in ways that are not always visible immediately. Effects propagate slowly through social networks, culture, memory. Influence often appears years after the moment that caused it. The universe normalizes delayed consequence. Light years also help recalibrate fear. Many anxieties are rooted in immediacy, the sense that something must be resolved now or everything will collapse. But on larger scales, resolution unfolds over time. Systems adapt. Structures evolve. Stability is dynamic, not static. This does not mean nothing matters. It means urgency should be chosen carefully. When you understand that even stars live and die over millions of years, you begin to question which pressures truly deserve your attention. The universe is resilient. It absorbs change and continues. That resilience is not an excuse for inaction. It is an invitation to perspective. Another quiet effect of thinking in light years is gratitude. Not forced gratitude, but natural appreciation for access. We live in an era when the universe is still observable, when its light still reaches us, when knowledge of cosmic scale is possible. Most beings that will ever exist in the universe may never have this view. They may be isolated in quieter skies with fewer clues about the larger structure of reality. We are unusually informed, and information carries responsibility. To understand is to witness. To witness is to preserve. The knowledge we gather now becomes part of the record future generations inherit. Even if they cannot see distant galaxies directly, they may know they existed because we saw them first. In this way, light years turn knowledge into stewardship. Finally, there is the emotional shift that happens when scale becomes familiar. Fear gives way to curiosity. Smallness gives way to belonging. The universe stops feeling hostile and starts feeling vast but neutral. It is not against you. It is not for you. It simply is. And within it, you exist as a temporary but legitimate configuration of matter and awareness. Light years do not diminish that fact. They frame it. They tell you that your life is brief, yes, but also rare. That your perspective is fleeting, but also unique. That your awareness occupies a moment in cosmic history that will never happen again. That moment is happening now. In the next part, we will bring everything together: distance, time, limits, meaning, and confront the final question: whether understanding light years ultimately makes the universe feel colder and more distant, or whether it reveals a deeper, quieter connection between everything that has ever existed. As understanding deepens, something unexpected happens. The universe does not feel colder. It feels quieter, not empty, not hostile, just vast and composed, like something that has been unfolding for a very long time and is in no hurry to explain itself. Light years, once intimidating, begin to feel less like barriers and more like structure. They are not there to separate us from meaning. They are the reason meaning can exist at all. Without delay, there would be no perspective. If everything were visible instantly, there would be no before and after, no sequence, no story. Light years slow the universe just enough for it to be understood. They give reality a rhythm. This rhythm reshapes how connection works. Human connection depends on proximity and immediacy. We speak, we listen, we respond. But cosmic connection is different. It is asynchronous. It operates more like memory than conversation. You receive information long after it was sent. You respond without expectation of reply. The value is not in exchange, but in reception. This reframes the idea of loneliness in the universe. We often imagine cosmic loneliness as isolation, as being cut off from others across vast distances. But isolation implies separation from something that could otherwise be present. The universe does not offer that promise. It offers coexistence without contact, presence without interaction. And that is not absence. It is a different kind of relationship. When you look at a distant galaxy, there is no dialogue, but there is recognition. You acknowledge its existence. You learn its history. You integrate its story into your understanding of the universe. That galaxy does not need to know you are there for the connection to be real. Light years allow this one-way intimacy. They also clarify something important about exploration. Exploration is not always about reaching. Sometimes it is about listening, about interpreting faint signals that arrive after unimaginably long journeys, about learning patience and humility in the face of delay. The most successful explorers of the cosmos are not those who move fastest, but those who observe most carefully. This principle extends inward. Much of human suffering comes from resisting delay, wanting clarity before it can arrive, wanting resolution before systems have had time to unfold. Light years teach acceptance without surrender. They model how to remain engaged even when answers come slowly. There is also a quiet ethical implication hidden in cosmic scale. When you understand how rare observation may be, how limited windows of visibility are, the act of paying attention becomes meaningful. Choosing to understand the universe is not neutral. It is participation. Knowledge does not emerge automatically. It requires curiosity, effort, and care. Each generation inherits a partial understanding and decides whether to expand it or let it fade. Light years remind us that the universe will not wait forever. The opportunity to see distant galaxies, to reconstruct cosmic history, to understand where everything came from, exists now. Not indefinitely, now. This gives science a moral dimension, not moral in the sense of right and wrong, but in the sense of responsibility. To see is to hold a fragment of truth that may not always be accessible. To measure is to preserve a detail that might otherwise vanish. Astronomy becomes an act of cultural memory. Another shift happens when you realize that light years do not just separate objects. They connect them through causality. Every photon you detect links you to a specific event at a specific time in a specific place. That link is physical. It is not abstract. The universe is stitched together by these links. Stars influence surrounding space through light and gravity. Galaxies shape one another through interaction and merger. Even at great distances, nothing is truly isolated. Influence fades with distance, but it never drops to zero. This undermines the idea that vast scale implies disconnection. It implies attenuation, not absence. You are connected to the farthest galaxies you can see, not through proximity, but through shared history. Their light is part of your present. Your present is part of their future, carried outward in expanding shells of radiation. The universe is not a collection of separate objects. It is a network of delayed interactions. Understanding this makes the concept of belonging feel less fragile. You do not need to be central to be included. You are included by virtue of participation. Existence itself is the membership requirement. There is also something liberating about accepting cosmic indifference. The universe does not watch, judge, or evaluate. It does not reward or punish. It unfolds according to consistent rules. That consistency allows freedom. Meaning is not imposed. It is constructed. Light years remove the illusion of cosmic approval and replace it with cosmic permission. You are free to matter in the ways you choose, because the universe does not dictate what should matter. That freedom can feel daunting, but it is also empowering. As understanding deepens, awe replaces fear. Awe is not about size alone. It is about coherence. about realizing that a universe governed by simple rules can generate immense complexity, beauty, and awareness. Light years are one of those simple rules expressed as a limit. They say that information takes time. That distance has consequences. That reality is not instantaneous. From that constraint emerges everything we see: the galaxies, the stars, the planets, life. Even thought itself requires time to propagate, signals to travel, processes to unfold. In that sense, light years are not obstacles to understanding. They are prerequisites for it. They give the universe depth. And finally, there is peace in recognizing that not everything must be reached, known, or resolved. Some questions will remain unanswered, not because we failed, but because the universe is larger than inquiry. That is not defeat, it is balance. The universe offers enough mystery to remain interesting forever and enough structure to remain understandable. Light years sit at that boundary. They mark how far curiosity can reach and where humility must begin. In the final part, we will step back one last time and see the whole picture together, how light years, time, and awareness combine to create a universe that is not built for human intuition, yet somehow allows humans to understand it anyway. By the time you reach the end of this journey, something subtle has changed. The light year no longer feels like a statistic meant to impress or intimidate. It feels like a boundary that shapes everything, a quiet rule that determines how the universe unfolds, how it remembers, and how it allows itself to be known. At first, light years seem hostile to human understanding. They stretch distance beyond intuition, delay information beyond patience, and place much of reality forever out of reach. But slowly, a different picture emerges. The same limits that frustrate us are the ones that make meaning possible. Without light years, there would be no layers of time in the sky, no record of cosmic history arriving piece by piece, no way to see galaxies as they once were, stars in their youth, or the universe in its earliest stages. Everything would collapse into an overwhelming present, too fast to interpret, too dense to understand. Delay is not a flaw, it is a feature. The universe reveals itself slowly because slowness is the only way complexity survives. Light years prevent everything from happening at once. They give events space to unfold, consequences time to propagate, and observers the chance to notice patterns rather than noise. In that sense, light years are not barriers between us and the universe. They are the medium through which the universe communicates. Every photon that reaches Earth has endured an improbable journey. It avoided absorption, scattering, and distortion across vast emptiness. It crossed distances so extreme that entire worlds may have formed and vanished along the way. And yet it arrives, intact enough to tell a story. That story does not need narration. It speaks through spectra, brightness, motion, and structure. Astronomers decode it, but the message itself exists independently of interpretation. The universe does not perform for us. It simply persists, and light years allow traces of that persistence to reach curious minds. This reframes what it means to observe. Observation is not passive. To observe is to intercept a fragment of reality that would otherwise continue on forever, unnoticed. When light ends its journey in your eyes or in a telescope, something irreversible happens. Information that was once traveling freely becomes knowledge. That act matters. It matters because observation is rare. Most of the universe will never be seen by anything capable of understanding it. Most photons will never encounter eyes, senses, or awareness. They will travel until stretched into irrelevance or absorbed by matter that cannot reflect on them. You live on a planet where light is noticed. That alone is extraordinary. Light years also force honesty. They remove comforting illusions about immediacy, centrality, and permanence. They show us that the universe does not revolve around our schedules or priorities, but they also reveal something quietly generous. The universe is understandable, even if not immediately, even if not completely. Human intuition may fail at cosmic scale, but human reasoning does not. Given time, patience, and curiosity, minds shaped by evolution on a small planet can still grasp truths about a universe billions of light years wide. That is not guaranteed, it is earned. And it is fragile. The knowledge we have now exists because countless observers before us asked questions, built instruments, waited for signals, and accepted delayed answers. Understanding the universe is a long relay, not a sprint. Each generation receives partial insight and passes it forward. Light years ensure that this relay continues. They make haste impossible, but depth unavoidable. Perhaps the most surprising realization is this: the universe is not cold because it is large. It feels cold only when we expect intimacy on human terms. When we accept cosmic terms instead, the universe feels coherent, patient, and quietly generous. It gives us time to look, time to learn, time to wonder. Even the unreachable parts of the universe play a role. They remind us that not everything must be known to be meaningful. Mystery is not failure, it is context. It defines the edges of understanding and gives exploration direction. The universe does not owe us answers. The fact that it offers any at all is remarkable. When you next look at the night sky, nothing visible will have changed. The stars will still appear fixed. The constellations will look familiar. But what you know will be different. You will know that every point of light is delayed, that every glow is history, that every dark gap hides distances so vast that even light struggles to cross them. You will know that the sky is not a backdrop, but a timeline. And you will know that your awareness, brief as it is, sits at a rare intersection where the universe can be observed, remembered, and understood. That is not small, that is participation. If this journey through light years has changed the way you see the universe, let it continue. Share this video with someone who still thinks space is just empty distance. Subscribe if you want to explore more ideas that stretch intuition without losing meaning. And leave a comment about the moment in this story that made the universe feel real to you. Because the more minds that look up with understanding, the more of the universe's story is preserved before it fades beyond reach. The light will keep traveling whether we listen or not. The choice to understand it is ours.